This is a story to all the girls who are always nice and kind to the weird kid in class or that weird guy in the corner who's a loner. Be careful, because I learned my lesson the hard way. In undergrad, I really wanted to go to med school, and to be able to go to med school, you need to publish like a few papers or at least have some type of research experience. So I asked my biology professor to join his lab, to which he accepted. Great. And then my biology professor introduced me to another kid who was a couple years older than me at the time. We're just going to call him Adam. He was supposed to be my research mentor, and he's supposed to teach me everything that I know. And Adam, literally just imagine your typical skinny, nerdy Asian kid. But for some reason, he thought he was the hottest shit in the world. He would keep saying weird stuff like, oh, all the girls in O Camp want me. And I would be like, what do you mean they want you? Like, they probably want you to help them with OChem, because he was actually very smart, very intelligent, but he'll be like, no, they want me because I'm so hot. And I'm just like Adam, like, chill. Also, this kid has no friends, so I felt obligated to kind of be his friend, and he basically confided in me with everything. Then he started purposely scheduling our experiments so we would have to come into lab from like 9 p.m. to 2 to 3 in the morning. Usually with research, protocols can take a really long time, but you can time it out. Most people can come in from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the latest, but he was purposely wanting me and him to come into lab in the middle of the night. And that was really sketchy because I did it a couple of times. I convinced him and said, listen, I can't come in to lab in the middle of the night anymore. If that's what you want to do, you can do that by yourself, but let's time our lab better so we only have to work during the day. I basically brushed it off, didn't think about it. We only do our research during the day. This part is really important. He started talking to me about this girl that he's seeing. We're just gonna call her Bella. He asked her out on a date, and then months passed by, they started dating, and he would always come into lab and ask me like advice, like on where to take her out on dates, what they did that weekend. A new semester started. At this point, it's been like a year of him talking about Bella. I started my neurology class, to which I sat across from this girl who was very familiar, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Bella, because Adam had showed me pictures of Bella, so I knew what she looked like. So I went up to Bella and I was like, hi, like, I'm Mukta, I'm Adam's lab mate. She was really scared, and she was like, how do you know me? How do you know what I look like? How do you know my name? Your boyfriend told me about you. Like, you guys have been dating for a year. I've heard so much about you. And she was like, Adam is not my boyfriend. Before, I've always known that Adam was a little off just because of the things that he says in lab. For example, we got in an argument one time because he just kept talking about himself so much and that other girls really find him attractive. So he gave me some examples that if he's sitting in a class and a girl's pupils are dilated, to him that means she is interested in him. Or if the girl is wearing glasses, I wear glasses, and she keeps pushing her glasses back up her nose, you're signaling to him that you're interested in him. Another signal was if a girl puts her hair behind her ear in class. Just little signals like that, that to him it means a girl is interested in him, which is an insane interpretation. But anyways, we got into it, and I happened to wear glasses, and I straight up told him, if I wear glasses to lab and I'm pushing my glasses up my nose, it doesn't mean that I'm interested in him at all. It just means my glasses are falling down my nose. Or if I put my hair behind my ear, that means I just want my hair out of my freaking face. Backtrack to me meeting Bella in neurology, to which she said that she never went out on one single date with Adam. Her and Adam were never anything. Adam messaged her on Instagram asking her out for a coffee date, to which she either said no or she left him on red. So basically, he made up the whole story of them dating for the whole entire year, every single date, every single conversation, and how they were in love. He just made that whole thing up. Turns out Adam was actually stalking her. She showed me screenshots of the messages that he had sent her like over and over and over, and it was something like, why don't you want to be with me? Like, one day we're going to be together again. Like, our love is too powerful. And another message that was really alarming was, I'll wait for you until one of us dies, or something like that. Bella had also told me that somehow he would figure out her schedule and he would sign up for the same exact classes as her, so he would see her in class. And she also fell into a deep episode of depression where she was always paranoid and felt like someone was watching her all the time. Bella usually walks to campus because she lives in, University Hill. So she would walk to campus, and every single walk she would feel like someone was following her or someone was watching her. With stalking cases, you can't really report it to the police unless you have solid evidence. So unless the stalker try to break contact, like either showing up at your work or try to break into your house, there's really not much they can do. I think she did try to report it to the police of all of her Instagram messages. She would block an account and then he would make another account and message her and saying all these crazy things until he broke into her house, but it actually wasn't her house.
My classmate Peter didn't fit in. He was weak, introverted, and poor, often wearing the same dirty shirt for days. But there was something about his eyes. They were sharp and clear. Even when his classmates beat him up and left his body covered in bruises, you could tell by his eyes that he wasn't hurt. He also didn't participate in class unless the teacher asked him to. Then he would stand up, give the correct answer, and sit down again. It was during summer break when I saw Peter lying on a field. I lied down next to him and asked how he was. He responded, "I'm great. It's just a beautiful day." And I stayed with him until sunset. "Don't you want to go home?" "I don't think my family wants me." "You can't stay here through the night. Why don't you come sleep at my home?" "Wow, thank you. That would be awesome." I brought him home, but my mom wasn't happy. She said, "Why did you bring this bum here? Look how dirty he is." Well, I made Peter take a shower and then I gave him my blanket so he could sleep on my floor. But by the next morning, he was already gone. I didn't see him again until school started, and right during the first break, the other boys wanted to beat him up. But I went in between and told them to stop. "Leave him alone. He might be different, but that doesn't allow you to hurt him." "Good luck defending him, little girl." The boy pushed me away so he could attack Peter, but that's when I started screaming as loud as I could. I wasn't hurt, but I pretended I was. When a teacher arrived, I said, "He smashed my head on the ground." "She's lying. Don't believe her." "Seems like we have to call your parents into school again." "But I didn't do anything." "So you want to tell me that this poor girl is lying?" The teacher took the boy by his ear and dragged him away. Peter said, "Thank you, but I don't mind if they beat me up." "Don't act silly. You need some friends to defend you. By the way, you want to come pick strawberries with me in the afternoon?" "I would love to do that." Well, after we had filled 2 baskets of strawberries, we sat down under a tree. It was the first time I realized that Peter was actually quite handsome. After we had filled 2 baskets of strawberries, we sat down under a tree. It was the first time I realized that Peter was actually quite handsome. I said, "Why are you so different?" And he responded, "I don't know." But I liked how he was different, so I cuddled myself against his shoulder. I felt comfortable with him because I knew he didn't judge me. And when it got dark, I asked, "Can I give you a kiss?" He nodded, and for a few seconds, I felt complete. Afterward, we became best friends, often walking through the fields and talking about our futures. I was surprised when one day he told me he wanted to move to the big city. He said school bored him and I should follow him. I said, "We're only 15, and my parents would never allow that." "If they want the best for you, they will." I don't think my parents would understand. He didn't respond, but the next day in school his chair was empty, so I went to his home. His mother opened the door and looked completely drunk. She screamed, "What do you want?" Is Peter here?" "No, but if you show me where he is, I'm gonna give him a few slaps." Peter had run away and left me behind. I was lonely and often wondered if Peter and I would ever see each other again. I wasn't sure, but after I graduated high school, I moved to California to study law. It was different than what I had expected. I missed the beautiful fields and nature I had grown up with. And I also still thought about Peter. We'd only been together for 6 months when we were 15, but he was the only guy I'd ever loved. Of course, I had other guys interested in me in college, but I found them shallow and boring. But to stop feeling lonely, I started dating Michael. He was extremely ambitious and worked all day, which meant I didn't have to talk to him much. We had been together for 2 years when Peter called me on my phone. After we had filled 2 baskets of strawberries, we sat down under a tree. It was the first time I realized that Peter was actually quite handsome. I said, "Why are you so different?" And he responded, "I don't know." But I liked how he was different, so I cuddled myself against his shoulder. I felt comfortable with him because I knew he didn't judge me. And when it got dark, I asked, "Can I give you a kiss?" He nodded, and for a few seconds, I felt complete. Afterward, we became best friends, often walking through the fields and talking about our futures. I was surprised when one day he told me he wanted to move to the big city. He said school bored him and I should follow him. I said, "We're only 15, and my parents would never allow that." If they want the best for you, they will. I don't think my parents would understand. He didn't respond, but the next day in school his chair was empty, so I went to his home. His mother opened the door and looked completely drunk. She screamed, "What do you want?" Is Peter here?" "No, but if you show me where he is, I'm gonna give him a few slaps." Peter had run away and left me behind. I was lonely and often wondered if Peter and I would ever see each other again. I wasn't sure, but after I graduated high school, I moved to California to study law. It was different than what I had expected. I missed the beautiful fields and nature I had grown up with. And I also still thought about Peter. We'd only been together for 6 months when we were 15, but he was the only guy I'd ever loved. Of course, I had other guys interested in me in college, but I found them shallow and boring. But to stop feeling lonely, I started dating Michael. He was extremely ambitious and worked all day, which meant I didn't have to talk to him much. We had been together for 2 years when Peter called me on my phone.
I hate wearing bras. They're uncomfortable, constricting, and expensive. With work from home, I spent the last year and a half basically never wearing a bra and got used to it. Quite frankly, my boobs are non-existent anyways. I recently started going to the gym again and started working out braless. I should note that up until now, no one has ever pointed out anything wrong with me not wearing a bra. However, in the middle of a set of squats, yes, mid-squat, a guy comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder to get my attention, and tells me that my nipples are poking out through my shirt. I get really irritated because why the F is this guy staring at my nipples in the first place and then stopping me mid-set to inform me? I ignore him and try to finish my set, but then this mofo literally grabs the bar, and as I ascend, he re-racks it for me. He claimed it looked like I was having trouble with my last rep, and that he had to come over and make sure I could do it, and that's when he noticed my nipples. I'm really pissed off at this point, and I told him I don't need his help finishing my set, and why the F he was looking at my chest in the first place. He said he was going to spot me, but then noticed my chest and thought it would be inappropriate. I pointed out that the safety bar was set, so even if I did fail the set, he wasn't needed. He just insisted that people at the gyms look out for each other, and that going forward, I should probably wear a bra so that other people won't get uncomfortable, and it may help me stay more balanced in my squats. I'm literally the only girl in the weight section of the gym at the moment, and other guys who are squatting and failed sets never have to worry about this shit. So now I'm really annoyed and also kind of uncomfortable that this guy I've never spoken to in my life thinks he's helping me and then has the audacity to tell me how to dress. So I tell him, "You have bigger boobs and nipples than I do. Maybe you should wear a bra so people won't get uncomfortable and you won't fail your squats." He then got really defensive, saying that he was just trying to help, and then called me a bitch. Honestly, I'm not sure if I overreacted, but I'm still kind of pissed off, so maybe that's clouded my judgment. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for calling my mom a bitch after she didn't want to go to my son's birthday party because she says he's going to be gay in the future? Me and my wife have a 10-year-old son, and he's very sweet and well-behaved. He's a very good student, likes flowers, and his favorite animal is butterflies. He's always been a feminine boy, but that was never a problem to us. Recently, some issues at school are happening because of this. His classmates are calling him weird and picking on him, and his friends are being targeted by bullies, so they're distancing themselves as well. He's been really sad and lonely. 2 weeks ago was his birthday, so my wife and I made him a birthday party and invited his friends. No one came, and we tried to make him feel better, but nothing worked. He said he was upset about his friends not coming, but more upset that his grandmother didn't. I told him his grandma's very busy, but he said that she dropped everything when the birthday was about her other grandchildren. I noticed he was right. In the past 3 years, she barely visits my son and uses work as an excuse, but is always available for my nieces and nephews. I called my mom and confronted her about it. She first said it was a coincidence, but eventually said the reason she wasn't visiting was because I was raising my son to be gay. She said if I made a man out of him, she'd visit more often, and I called her a bitch and hung up on her. Am I the asshole for punishing my husband for throwing away my dinner? My husband, 33, and I, 29, have been together for 4 years. Because he's vegan and I'm not, we cook our own meals. Last night I prepared dinner and sat on the couch to eat and watch TV. I heard my phone ring upstairs and went to answer it. I didn't realize I spent 6 minutes on the phone and went downstairs after the call ended and saw my husband sitting on the couch. I looked past him and saw my plate was gone. I asked if he touched it and he said he trashed the food because it was left on the coffee table for a long time and there was a bad smell coming out of it. Almost like the meat was rotting inside, and said that while making a disgusting face. I was floored and yelled at him, "What the hell is wrong with you?" He said he didn't know the food was fresh because he was in his office working. He still insisted there was a weird smell coming from the plate. I said it was none of his concern and he should have left it alone. He said his eyes got tired of working and he wanted to watch TV, but I decided to leave my meat laying around for him to feel disgusted knowing how he reacts to being exposed to meat products. He made gagging sounds, then went on about the living room being mutual space and how I disrespected him by leaving meat around. I said he eats his food in the living room and sometimes even the bedroom. He asked if I was disgusted with his cooking and I asked if he was disgusted with mine, and it just turned into a bigger argument. So I refused to do the dishes. Am I the asshole for threatening to run over my neighbor's kids' toys? My neighbor has 5 kids, all under the age of 7. The oldest daughter keeps an eye on the rest of them and she's just a kid herself. The kids are sweet, but my neighbors have no respect for other people's spaces and allow their kids to keep their bikes, scooters, toys, and even trash in other people's driveways or lawns. The youngest threw toilet paper all over people's yards, and when it rained, it got mushy. A neighbor asked him or his mother to pick it up, and his mother just ignored it. One morning, they had like 3 to 4 bikes just scattered across my driveway. I yelled to the mother that I might run over the bikes. Can you please come move them? And she got annoyed. I yelled to the mother that I might run over the bikes. Can you please move them? The mother started getting annoyed, asking why I couldn't just move it. I told her because it was her kid's stuff and it should be on their side. I might squish it because I either A, don't know it's there until I reach a certain blind spot, or B, don't want to touch their stuff anymore. She started whining, saying that they were just kids and don't know any better. I never blamed the kids. I blamed her. I told her she was excusing bad behavior on her part towards her kids, and I asked the kids to move their stuff, but they don't listen to me either. Am I the asshole for threatening to run the toys over? Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws exactly where my husband was when I went into labor? I gave birth to my son 10 weeks ago, and I went through an exhausting period while I was nearing my due date. One of my